What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. You know what's crazy? It's like I'll see random things and it reminds me of stuff, and it reminds me of a funny story, just makes you laugh or just giggle. And you got to understand, being in the car business, one, you got to have a sense of humor. You got to be able to laugh it off. If not, it'll drive you crazy. One thing that I love, L-O-V-E, love doing is f***ing with other car dealers. I love it. I love it. It puts joy in my heart. I call them bottom feeders. I f*** with them. I love it. Backyard, big building, box store. I don't give a f***. I love fucking with all of them because that's my job. That's my job, just to give them hell, because I can do something that none of those can. And that's sell when no one else can. Some call it luck. I call it skill. Saw something that really reminded me. I get people sending me things all the time, obviously, that's for sale. And usually it's cars, trucks, a few motorcycles. Kobe sends me a jukebox. And instantly, I thought about my old jukebox I used to have. So in my old house, the one pre-brothel, I had a jukebox in my game room. And it's a Wurlitzer 1052 OMT. I call it One More Time is what OMT stand for. Basically, it was a 90s remake of that classic bubbler Wurlitzer jukebox. And they're about 9-10 grand. Pretty, all the mahogany veneers, and of course, it's got the little tubes, and it's got all the lights in it and all that stuff. But it's got the little tubes, and when the lights heat the tubes up, they got baby oil in them, and they bubble. Kind of like a lava lamp, and I mean, it's just beautiful to look at. And that sound from an old school jukebox, just that one, they had that one, it's got like a 10-inch sub, it's got one speaker, but that sound, I love it. I mean, it's not like the best audio in the world, but it's just that great low tone. I love it, love it, love it. So how I acquired said jukebox, and then what happened to said jukebox is really the interesting parts of the story. An old friend of mine had a restaurant here in town, and he had it in his restaurant. And I remember going in there, and just like that jukebox was so gorgeous. Literally, I went in his restaurant twice a month to get heartburn just to see this jukebox. And I loved it, just sat back there in the corner, and you know what I mean? It was just so neat. It was a CD, it looked like the record style, but it was actually a CD jukebox. Holds 100 CDs, and it's got a carousel in it, and a little arm. There's all kinds of moving parts to this thing. And it was just so neat to watch. He just had it on autoplay. Nobody really messed with it. And it was just so pretty. And I always joke with him all the time, so you were selling that jukebox. You were selling that jukebox. He said, no, I don't want to sell it. It was his pride and joy. He loved that thing. He always kept it wiped down and just dusted off, unlike everything else in the restaurant. So anyway, he passed away. And, I didn't think anything more about it. His daughter reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in this jukebox? And she had it in her living room in her house. And she said, I love it, but she said, I really don't need it. It acts up sometimes and whatnot. She said, would you be interested in it? And I said, yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. I didn't know what she wanted for or whatever. So I went over to look at it, and it still looked just like the day it was in the restaurant, and the thing is, these things are heavy as fuck too. I mean, this thing probably weighs 800 pounds. I said, well, what would you like for it? She said, well, what would you give for it? And I said, I can't buy it and sell it. And this is a tricky situation when you're dealing with people like this, because, there's some sentimental attachment to it because their father owned it. So you don't want to just jump in there and say, I'll give you $500 for it, and you'll be a dickhead and they'll run you off. So it's good to hear people out. A lot of times, because of sentimental attachment, they want a ton of money for it. And sometimes they just want to sell it, so you just kind of let them make that first move. I said, what would you feel comfortable for it? She's like, would you give $750 for it? I said, sold, I'll take it. I sent my guys over with a truck with a lift gate, and thank God we had a service truck back then that had a lift gate, to get this thing, and we strapped it all down, all careful and all this stuff. We get it to my house, and we had to take it up a couple steps, and we get it in place, and this thing wouldn't play for shit. Like the carousel would turn, the little arm would just miss the CD, and it'd come down. It didn't have a CD in it, so it wouldn't play. The only way you can make it play is you had to take the CDs and put them on the little CD player, and then start it, and it would do it. But, well, I mean, that's kind of sucks. You got to open it up and all this stuff just to make it play one CD. I'm like, okay, this ain't cool. Well, I found a guy that worked on pinball machines and jukeboxes, and he was local. An older man, he came in and he goes, "You just set this thing up?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "This right here," he was holding a flat tip screwdriver. He said, "is your number one tool with a Wurlitzer jukebox." And everything sits on springs. You gotta think about CDs used to skip. And so this thing, like the CD player, actually floated, so that way I guess if they got to really romping on the dance floor, it wouldn't skip. And he was talking about this thing, just at least a little bit of movement totally changes everything for this. So he goes, "You never turn any of these screws." And he showed me, on the arm it had a screw, and on the little plate that took the CD and the carousel and all the adjustment, there's little flat tip screws. He said, "You never turn any more." It's like a carburetor. You never turn anything more than a quarter turn at a time. I'm like, all right. I watched him do it. And I mean, he turned just a couple screws and he'd hit the button, let it go. And it was just like a little off. So he'd turn a little more, turn a little more. Turn screw back here. Start playing. Perfect. Shut the door on and said, "That's gonna cost you $100 for a lesson." He said, "Get you a good flat tip screwdriver and keep it handy. You see what I did, just play with it. If it ever messes up again." I'm thinking to myself, well, if I never touch it, it'll be fine. And it would. I played it all day long. Just put it on autoplay. This thing was shuffling through all these CDs, and I mean, just had a blast. I got my pool table down there, and I mean, I had a few buddies come over. I never touched it, and it played beautifully all day long. Well, about 10:30, 11 o'clock that night, we're kind of fizzling out for the evening. So it had a big switch on the back of it, so I just flipped the switch off. Lights stopped. Well, that Sunday morning, I decided to come down and fire my old jukebox up, lit up and all this stuff. Chink, arm misses the CD. So I get my little flat tip screwdriver in there, little tweak. Next thing you know, it picks it up, starts playing good again. Every time you play that jukebox, you had to open it up and play with something. You had to adjust something on it. Probably 2 times in the year I had it, did it play just automatically out of the box. Loved it. And it was beautiful, and everybody just made over it. So I learned if people were coming over to go ahead and start it up beforehand and get everything going, and then shut it. Then I'll go run upstairs and get ready or finish what I'm going to do. And then it'll just be playing. Just leave it playing all day. Don't mess with it. It was fun. It was a great piece in my game room. I mean, I got guitars and, like I said, my pool table and old signs. My whole game room was done up, which is basically the whole lower level of my house. And I had a lot of fun with it. Of course, pictures of it all over social media and, and all this stuff. And I think there's a picture of me floating around playing a pool cue, like a guitar in front of it. And I may have been drinking, possibly. I got a buddy of mine who is a car dealer, and he's Mr. Wheeler Dealer. And to hear him tell it, he's the best around. And he's going to watch this video, and I'm going to get a dirty phone call, but I don't really give a shit. But he's Mr. Wheeler Dealer. He's that guy. He's always bragging about man, I got this for this. And of course, everything he buys is the best, and he bought it the cheapest. And, it's fishing stories, it's just fishing stories. He's that guy, literally a pissing for distance contest. No matter what you did, he's done it a little better. He's that guy. And I listen to guys like that and I laugh. I used to try to jump into that. I'm like, I just listen, let them talk. I let what I do speak for me. He said, "Man, I want that jukebox." I said, "Bring me some money, it could be yours." I said, "I ain't attached to anything." He goes, "We want to do a little trading." I said, "I'm up for that too." He just had a really nice golf cart built, and down at the beach, he had a little beach house down there, and he had some golf cart coming down in Myrtle Beach build this gorgeous easy-go golf cart. And I'm talking about plumb quick motor, lift kit, 14-inch wheels, 23-inch tires, the really nice lift kit, not just a spindle lift, carbon fiber dash, custom stereo, had a sub in it, custom seats, not like seat covers, but like had the seats done and they were bolstered up and stuff. Had the long top on it. It was jet black, big pretty wheels, had fairway wheels on it. I mean, it was just a gorgeous golf cart. And I told him, I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll swap the jukebox for the golf cart. He said, I can't be tossing keys like that on that jukebox. He said, man, I probably got $12,000, $13,000 in that golf cart. He said, it hadn't been built 3 months. I told him, I said, you said you wanted to trade. I told you how it'd work. I said, go try to buy another jukebox. And they're a little hard to get. So he comes over to the house and he looks at it, and I already had it playing, already had it going when he walked in. He just fell in love with it, which was beautiful. And it worked perfect. He changed the song and it just never missed a beat because I already got in there with my little screwdriver in my back pocket. And I mean, I got every book, the manuals where he had service stuff done to it, all this stuff with it. So I told him all about it, opened it up, and he seen the inside of it, how it worked and all that stuff, which was kind of neat how the lights turned in. I mean, it's just really kind of neat how it works. A lot of moving pieces in this thing. He goes, give me $1,000 in the jukebox for the golf cart. I said, no. I said, you send your guys to get this and drop my golf cart off. Done. I just can't toss keys. Well, he walks over, starts looking around. I got my big 1956 Coke button. He's looking at that and he touched it. I said, that's out of your league, Junior. Stop. He walks over and I got a wall of guitars. I think I had 6 guitars then hanging up. And he walks up and I had one that was signed by a couple country music guys. And it's just a little acoustic, I mean, it was a bar giveaway guitar anyway. And he goes, jukebox this guitar for the golf cart. I said, you twisted my arm. Deal. Bring my golf cart. Good deal. So he left straight from there, went to his place, got his golf cart. It was absolutely gorgeous, roll-off trailer. I mean, this thing run 38, 39 mile an hour. Like I said, it had the Plum Quick motor. It's actually how I met Robbie Steen of Plum Quick Racing, the guy that holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's fastest golf cart in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I mean, this thing's just gorgeous show car for a golf cart. It had HID headlights, LED tail lights. I mean, this was all, and this was, you see that a lot on golf carts now. This was 10 years ago. I mean, this thing was a showstopper golf cart. He unloaded it off. I was just tickled as I could be. He got his guys over there moving that thing, and they brought a furniture dolly and moved that jukebox out, and they're strapping it down. They put moving blankets over it and all this stuff. And this guy, like I said, he's that cocky guy. And I love to serve up some humble pie. So after they got it all loaded up, I got my golf cart in the garage and the garage door down, I said, man, I got all the books for this thing and everything. Let me go run up and grab them. So I ran upstairs right quick and actually had them laid on my counter in my kitchen. I pulled them down. And when I pulled them down, there was that receipt. She wrote me a receipt for that jukebox. Robert Pitts, Wurlitzer jukebox, $750. I just stuck it right in the middle. Here you go, bud. He goes, all right, man, we'll see you. About 2 hours goes by. I'd have been riding. Matter of fact, I was actually riding on his golf cart when he called me. You son of a bitch. He said, what, we got this jukebox out. And he said, we can't get it to play. So I opened up this damn manual and I see the damn receipt where you paid only $750 for this thing. I traded you a $12,000 golf cart for it. I said, it ain't about what I paid. It's about what you want. And I love telling that story to people, especially, when you got a cocky guy like that, because that can be intimidating. So I think this is a really good story because it actually teaches you a lesson. Sometimes it pays not to brag about all those scores. Hold back, sandbag on them just a little bit, let them think they're getting one over on you. Guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.
Love it.
My sunglasses, that's what I'm missing. That's a crucial piece.
That is a very crucial piece.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. It's funny you see, jukebox this guitar for the golf cart. Well, I got $200 in the golf cart. Or I got $200 in the guitar.
Humble pie.
I love it.
That's a good title.
Good title, that works. I was gonna say don't rock the jukebox.
That works too, though.